Passion for them might dwell in their hearts, destroy with the shining light of knowledge and the darkness born of ignorance. This process of understanding by devotional service is essential for developing Krishna consciousness, and you all must follow this program seriously. Panipedia. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, we have Sadhak Seva announcement text. Sadhak Seva means practical seva opportunities to help each other in different situations like job search, business referral, house search, finding loans officers, taxes help, legal help, health related help, matrimonial related, and many other types of help. Sadhak Seva means we should not only help in motivating others for japa, but should also help in other practical ways. Everyone who is a member of Japa conference must also help everyone else in a more practical sense. Presently, please share your name and number for Everyday Chant Harinam Japa WhatsApp group or email to everydaychant@gmail.com. Thanks. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Namah Sirvevya Sushwagatam Bhaktaganam Kripya Taunam Vasanagrinam Vidhi.
Hare Krishna Mataji and Hare Krishna to all the devotees. This is Sundar Bandari from Maryland. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Guru Maharaj ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai. Dhanyavad Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Sumati Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. My humble obeisances to all the assembled devotees on this call. Mama Nama Premanandini Devidasi. Aham Ashburn Shahare Vasami.
Hare Krishna. Guru Maharaj ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai. Dhanyavad Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji and Hare Krishna to all devotees. This is Malini from Ashburn, Virginia. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Guru Maharaj ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai. Dhanyavad Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Would anybody else like to announce their names?
Hare Krishna. Mam Nam Vikas Kulkarni. I'm Toronto Nagara Vasami. Guru Maharaj ki jai. Full Prabhupada ki jai. My humble obeisances to all the devotees on the phone call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Guru Maharaj ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai. Dhanyavad Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji and Hare Krishna to all the devotees. This is Aarti Sardesai from Ellicott City, Maryland. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Guru Maharaj ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai. Dhanyavad Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Would anybody else like to announce their names?
Mataji, Madan Pranam to you. Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Rupini Padma Devi Dasi from Orlando, Florida.
Hare Krishna. Guru Maharaj ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai. Dhanyavad Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Would anybody else like to announce their names? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Today we are reading chapter 10, The Opulence of the Absolute of Bhagavad Gita. An overview. Hare Krishna. His Grace Vikas Prabhuji. Please take over the call now. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Today I have been given this service to speak about verses 12 and 13 from chapter 10. I'll try to do my best. But before I begin, I wanted to thank all the devotees for giving me the opportunity to join the chanting today with you guys. And it was such ecstatic chanting. I really loved it. I'll try my best to join the call for chanting going forward. So thank you so much for that association. Today, while we will discuss the two verses that I have been assigned, tomorrow is Gita Jayanti, and because it is Gita Jayanti, I think it is good on all of us who are sadhakas and who are actually performing this Gita Parayana to recite Gita Mahatmya that Prabhupada has put and has elaborated on in the introduction section of the Bhagavad Gita as it is. So those who have the book in front of them, they can look at page 28 and 29, and there they will find the 7 verses that Prabhupada has quoted. This Gita Mahatmya was written by Shankaracharya, and it is widely quoted. And it is, if at all there is a impersonalist who wants to talk about Shankaracharya's commentary, we should be talking about Gita Mahatmya from Shankaracharya, and that should quell any conversation people may have as to whether the Lord is personal or not, and why Krishna should be worshipped. This is not about personalism or impersonalism. It is very simply, in a very brief and succinct manner, the best glorification we could come across of Srimad Bhagavat Gita, and therefore we should perform that recitation. But before we do all of this, one, I want to express again my ineptitude to speak about these two topics. Yet I thank for the organizers for their mercy on me to speak about these topics. I thank you guys for being here, for providing me your association. May the right words come at the right time from my mouth in the right spirit, in the right manner, so that they may be received by you in the right way, so that we all progress in our spiritual path towards path to Godhead. Second thing, we always begin our discourses and our conversations with Mangalacharan prayer. So I'll request Srimati Mataji to please recite the Mangalacharan prayers for us. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Sure Prabhuji. मम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिधि नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे नरीशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण
Krishna
कृष्ण
Krishna Hare Hare Hare
हरे
Hare
राम हरे
Ram
राम
Ram
राम
Ram
राम
Hare.
हरे यस
Thank you, Mataji, for such wonderful recitation. I'll just say a prayer for myself. So, if devotees have opened the introduction section and are on pages 28 and 29 of Bhagavad Gita as it is, I'm talking about the English version, then maybe you can recite with me, or if devotees want, each one can take one of the shlokas from that Gita Mahatmya and read it. Anybody who has a book in front of them? Okay, no worries. So I'll recite the Gita Mahatmya, and then I'll briefly speak about what each shloka is talking about. Gita Shastram Midam Punyam Ya Pathet प्रयतः पुमान् विष्णोपादम् अवाप्नोति भयशोकादिवर्जितः. If one properly follows the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, one can be freed from all the miseries and anxieties of life. गीताध्ययनशीलस्य प्राणायाम परस्य च नैव सन्ति हि पापानि पूर्वजन्म कृतानि च. If one reads Bhagavad Gita very sincerely and with all seriousness, then by the grace of the Lord, the reactions of his past misdeeds will not act upon him. Maline mochanam pumsam jalasnanam dine dine sakrit amritasnanam sansar malanashanam. One may cleanse himself daily by taking a bath in water, but if one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganges of water of Bhagavad Gita, for him the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. Gita Sugita Kartavya Kim Anyo Shastra Vistare Ya Swayam Padmanabhasya Mukha Padma Vinisritaha. Because Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one need not read any other Vedic literature. One need only attentively and regularly hear and read Bhagavad Gita. Bharatamrit Sarvaswam Vishnu Vaktrad Sritam Gita Gangodakam Pitva Punarjanma na Vidyate. One who drinks the water of the Ganga attains salvation. So, what to speak of one who drinks the nectar of Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita is the essential nectar of the Mahabharata, and it is spoken by Lord Krishna himself, the original Vishnu. सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दुग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधी भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्. This Gita Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, the essence of all the Upanishads, is just like a cow, and Lord Krishna, who is famous as a cowherd boy, is milking his cow. Arjuna is just like a calf, and learned scholars and pure devotees are to drink the nectarian milk of Bhagavad Gita. Ekam Shastram Devaki Putram, Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Geetam, Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva, Eko Mantrastasya Namani Yani, Karmapyekam Tasya Devasya Seva. What this verse is saying is, let in these times there be only one Shastra, which is the Bhagavad Gita that was sung by the Lord on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Let there be only one worshipable God, the only God, Devaki Putra, Krishna. Let there be only one mantra, the mantra of his names. And let there be only one activity for all living beings, which is to serve him. In this Gita Mahatmya, every verse is very important. It tells us the benefits of reading Bhagavad Gita regularly, studying it, and absorbing it in our day to day life. The last two verses are particularly very important, and they are, you know, they they have so much potency in them, where what is being said is that the Lord has taken the time to churn out all the Upanishads, just like a cowherd who's milking the cow. So the Upanishads are the cow, the milkman or the cowherd is the Lord himself. Now, The milk is taken from the cow for its calf. So here the calf who is receiving this milk is Arjun Maharaj, but through him, what the verse says is it is available for Sudhi Bhokta, for those intelligent people who have established intelligence and those who are in devotional service. For them also this is available. And the milk itself is the Gita Amritam. And then the last words, where it says, let there be only one book, let there be only one uh, God, let there be only one mantra, and let there be only one activity, which is to serve Him. This is not to mean that everything else is to be negated, but let that be the primary recourse for all of us whenever we have to take shelter of anything. Then our shelter should be Bhagavad Gita, then our shelter should be Lord Krishna, our shelter should be the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and let that one activity be to perform devotional service to Him. So what it means is we don't have to negate everything else that is there. We don't have to negate other shastras, other demigods, etc. We don't have to negate other religions also. But as much as possible, we assimilate them. We accommodate all of those things. We go with all of those things. We respect all of those things. But when there is a conflict and you have maybe a point of indecision, maybe at some point you have a doubt, at that time, do fall back to these four and they will take you out of this material existence. So with this, we'll move to the discussions on verses 12 and 13 of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10. Any questions on Gita Mahatmya so far? Okay. So before we actually do the discussions on verses 12 and 13, we will recite the two verses. Anybody who wants to volunteer to recite the two verses? Sumati Mataji, do you want to start? Sorry, I can pick up on you because nobody else is volunteering.
Sure, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, verse number 12 and 13. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji, 12 and 13.
Arjunuvacha Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adidevam Ajam Vibhum Ahustvam Rishayah Sarve Devarsha Naradastatha Asito Devalo Vyasa Swayam Chaiva Bravishime. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anybody else who would like to recite? Please make an attempt.
Param Brahma Param Dhamma Pavitram Paramam Bhavam Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adi Devam Ajam Vibhum Ahustavam Ras I don't know.
Rishayah.
Rishaya Sarve Devashir Naradas Tata Ashito Devalo Vyasa Vayam Chaiva Bravishame. Sorry if there is a mistake.
No, not at all, Mataji. Very good attempt.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Anybody else?
Arjuna
Yes.
Vacha Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Saswatam Divyam Adi Devam Ajam Ahus Tvam Rasya Sarva Devarsir Naradas Tatha asito devalo vyasa swayam cheva bravisame. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, very nice, Mataji.
अर्जुन उवाच परं ब्रह्म परं धाम पवित्रं परमं भवान् पुरुषं शाश्वतं दिव्यम् आदिदेवम् अजं विभुम् अहोस्त्वां ऋषयः सर्वे देवर्षि नारदस्तथा असितो देवलो व्यासः स्वयं चैव ब्रवीषि मे.
Very nice. Anybody else? I'll say something to encourage others to recite. In Bhagavad Gita, up to this point, Arjun Maharaj has spoken multiple times, but this is the first time when he is actually praising the Lord. And he is praising the Lord right after the Lord has spoken the four most important verses, which are known as the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita. And out of his ecstatic uh, happiness and in that joy, he is saying these verses. So sometimes we are incapable of, say, making a beautiful vehicle, maybe creating a craft, building a car. But if somebody has built a car, then we move from one point to another point just because that person has built a car. Arjun Maharaj has built this car. He's built this car to glorify the Lord. Let us use that car to glorify the Lord. We do not have the intelligence and the kind words to glorify the Lord on our own, but we can borrow this from other devotees who have been there ahead of us, who have composed such beautiful shlokas to glorify the Lord. So take the opportunity, use it, and don't think that you are saying these verses for this class, for me, or for the other devotees. See that he is sitting in front of you, and then you are saying this. Hare Krishna. Anybody else who wants to recite? Very well. I will recite then. Sri Arjuna Vacha Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adidevam Ajam Vibhum Ahustvam Vishayas Sarve Devarshi Naradastata Asito Devalo Vyasa Swayam Chaiva Bravishime. Hare Krishna. Anybody wants to recite, or shall we go to the word for word translation, the reading of the translation and then the purport? Okay. Any devotee who wants to volunteer to read the synonyms, the translation and the purport? Everyone can take turns. So maybe one devotee can read the synonyms, another devotee can read the translation. And then if there are more devotees, we can share the reading of the purport. It's a long purport.
Hare Krishna, can I read synonyms?
Sure, Mataji, go ahead.
A word for word translation by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. Arjuna Vacha. Arjuna said, Param, supreme. Brahma, truth. Param, supreme. Dhamma, sustenance. Pavitram, pure. Paramam, supreme. Bhavan, you. Purusham, personality. Shashvatam, eternal. Divyam, transcendental. Adidevam, the original Lord. Ajam, unborn. Vibhum, greatest. Ahu, say. Tvam, of you. Rashaya, sages. Sarve, all. Deva Rishi, the sage amongst the demigods. Narada, Narad. Tatha, also. Asit, Asit. Devala, Devala. Vyasa, Vyasa. Swayam, personally. Cha, also. Eva, certainly. Bravishi, you are explaining. Me, unto me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anybody who wants to read the translation?
Sure, Prabhuji. Arjuna said, "You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest." All the great sages such as Narada, Ashita, Devala, and Vyasa confirmed this truth about you. And now you yourself are declaring it to me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. This is a long purport, so maybe if devotees want to take a couple of paragraphs and read them.
Yes, Prabhu, I can start.
Sure, Mataji, go ahead.
Yeah. Purport by His Divine Grace, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In these two verses, the Supreme Lord gives a chance to the modern philosopher, for here it is clear that Supreme is different from the individual soul. Arjuna, after hearing the essential four verses of Bhagavad Gita in this chapter, became completely free from all doubt and accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He at once boldly declares, "You are Param Brahma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead." And previously, Krishna stated that he is the originator of everything and everyone. Every demigod and every human being is dependent on him. Men and demigods, out of ignorance, think that they are absolute and independent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That ignorance is removed perfectly by the discharge of devotional service. This has already been explained in the previous verse by the Lord. Now, by His grace, Arjuna is accepting Him as the supreme truth in concordance with the Vedic injunction. It is not that because Krishna is Arjuna's intimate friend, Arjuna is flattering him by calling him the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute truth. Whatever Arjuna says in these two verses is confirmed by Vedic truth. Vedic injunctions affirm that only one who takes to devotional service to the Supreme Lord can understand him, whereas others cannot. Each and every word of this verse spoken by Arjuna is confirmed by Vedic injunction. Should I continue, or anyone else would like to pick up from here on? In the Kena Upanishad, it is stated that the Supreme Brahman is the rest of everything, and Krishna has already explained that everything is resting on him. In Mundaka Upanishad, confirms that the Supreme Lord is whom everything is resting, can be realized only by those who engage constantly in thinking of him. This constant thinking of Krishna is Smaranam, one of the methods of devotional service. It is only by devotional service to Krishna that one can understand his position and get rid of this material body. In the Vedas, the Supreme Lord is accepted as the purest of the pure. One who understands that Krishna is the purest of the pure can become purified from all sinful activities. One cannot be disinfected from sinful activities unless he surrenders unto the Supreme Lord. Arjuna's acceptance of Krishna as the supreme pure complies with the injunctions of Vedic literature. This is also confirmed by great personalities, of whom Narada is the chief. Anyone would like to take over from here?
Mataji, I can read.
Sure.
Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and one should always meditate upon him and enjoy one's transcendental relationship with him. He is a supreme existence. He is free from bodily needs, birth, and death. Not only does Arjuna confirm this, but all the Vedic literatures, the Puranas, and histories. In all Vedic literatures, Krishna is thus described, and the Supreme Lord Himself also says in the fourth chapter, "Although I am born, I appear on this earth to establish religious principles." He is the supreme origin. He has no cause. He has no cause, for He is the cause of all causes, and everything is emanating from Him. This perfect knowledge can be had by the grace of the Supreme Lord. If anybody else wants to read, last paragraph.
Hare Krishna, anybody? Mataji, you can finish.
Okay. Here, Arjuna expresses himself through the grace of Krishna. If we want to understand Bhagavad Gita, we should accept the statements in these two verses. This is called the Parampara system, acceptance of the disciplic succession. Unless one is in the disciplic succession, he cannot understand Bhagavad Gita. It is not possible by so called academic education. Unfortunately, those proud of their academic education, despite so much evidence in Vedic literatures, stick to their obstinate conviction that Krishna is an ordinary person. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Krishna. Thank you so much, devotees, for the recitation of the verses, for the reading of the synonyms, the translation, and the purport. If there are any questions, happy to log them now, and then we can discuss as we go through the discussion of the words. Or you can have your questions even at the end. I'm happy whichever way devotees want it. So just asking if anyone has a question at this time. If not, we can get into our discussions.
Prabhuji, one word stands out here is, if you can explain, Krishna's supreme personality of Godhead, one should always meditate upon him and enjoy one's transcendental relationship with him. So, if you can explain about the transcendental relationship with him, how do we understand this aspect, what is written here?
So this even how do I put it? E equals mc square. It's a formula, right? People can understand it at various levels. Kids in KG can understand E as just an alphabet, and then when they slightly grow a bit more, they can understand it can be written in two different ways, capital and small. And then you understand that there are many words that can be formed with the letter E. And then as you go into various studies and whatnot, there are different formulas, and one of the formulas is equals and equals, right? So what I am trying to say is the very same thing is seen and understood by us as sadhakas, depending on the level of consciousness we are in. So what does enjoying our transcendental relationship with Krishna mean? Even at a material level, if we actually understand that everything has been given by him, he is the source of everything. And therefore, to have the gratitude to him for having provided these things, even if they are for our material enjoyment, that is creating that relationship with Krishna and, uh, enjoying that relationship. Because slowly, even through just that, you will develop transcendental love where that love will now not be needing the process of material enjoyment, but just having that transcendental relationship. But it begins from there. A little above this is as the devotee progresses, the devotee will now start to do things for the Lord. Starting with Patram Pushpam Phalam Te. So he up till now it was more about me and my enjoyment and trying to get things, but at least having that gratitude creates that relationship. Uh, there is actually a shloka where, in the Chatushloki Bhagavat, so there are 4 shlokas in Bhagavat that are considered Chatushloki. In the second shloka, it says, the moment we see this world devoid of Krishna, that is Maya. The moment we see Krishna in this world, it is the reality. So, just seeing that reality creates that relationship. But as a devotee, then instead of our enjoyment, we focus on trying to please him. Forget about just doing everything only for his enjoyment. But in a day, performing some activity to please him, take our time out, that creates that relationship as a devotee. If you progress further, we can have a further relationship as you chant with dedication, with devotion, with bhav, slowly you will start to see and realize Krishna is dancing on your lips and on your tongue. And that is your transcendental relationship with Him. It takes time, but it will happen because Krishna has said, Punvatam Swakata Krishna. If you are listening to His glories and His pastime, Punya Shravan Kirtanaha, Hridayasthoi Antrani, Vidunoti Suripsatam. So He will start to cleanse this, hankering for enjoyment. He will cleanse that and He will create devotional service. And there He is performing. He in that relationship, He is reciprocating, continuously reciprocating. And the more you walk one step, He is actually walking 10 steps with us. So realizing that is the next level. As you progress further, you will realize that you are not this body and you are the soul. And at the soul level, you are actually Brahma. In chapter 8, we read that. He is Parabrahma. Even as Brahma, even as soul, we rest on Him, we depend on Him. He is Parabrahma. That's what Arjun Maharaj is saying. The very first word in these two verses is Parabrahma. So you realize that He is Parabrahma, then you are enjoying that relationship further. In chapter 18, verses 54 and 55, Krishna says, Brahma Bhut Prasannatma. So someone who's already at the Brahma level. Na shochati na kankshati. So, and Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhakti Labhate Param. So from then on, you actually now get into perhaps what Prabhupada is talking about, that personal transcendental relationship with the Lord. Because you now start to have that personal bhakti. And in that, you will, it is not elaborated in Bhagavad Gita, it is very, in detail elaborated in Srimad Bhagavatam, that you start to now have 5 different types of rasa. He is Akhil Rasamrit Sindhu. So when you start to serve Him, you start to enjoy these mellows, and in that mellow, you will start to get into Swarup Vyavasthiti. So Swarup is Atma, but what is that Atma situated as when vis-a-vis Krishna? Generally, we say that there are 5 such relationships, which is of Dasya, Sakya, Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya Ras. So you will know in what position you have been eternally serving Him, and you ought to be serving Him. So that is what enjoying that transcendental relationship with the Lord means. I hope I have answered your question, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. And it's a beautiful verse expressing the glorification of Krishna. So it's nice to hear that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu, can you please elaborate what is Shantarasa?
So Shantarasa is where, devotees are sort of neutral, where, say in Golok or in Vrindavan Dham also, where if you are there as animal, Krishna is petting those peacocks. He is admiring, the parrot who's sitting on a tree. He is admiring the whole Vrindavan Dham. So all of those things are pleasing Krishna. The cows and the calves are also pleasing Krishna. So in some sense, they are actually in that neutral bhav and they are serving Krishna. And that is the Shantava or Shantara.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
So before we get into even the conversation, I just want to say, so Arjun Maharaj is saying out of his ecstatic love and joy, and he's saying these 2 verses. But Krishna's position is independent. It doesn't depend on Arjun Maharaj recognizing or not. Arjun Maharaj is recognizing. He has been a devotee. He has been a good friend to the Lord. The Lord doesn't offer His friendship just like that. Yet Arjun Maharaj is offering. But that point aside, Krishna on his own is not dependent on anybody recognizing him or serving him. He is Swarat. That's the very first words of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we need to know that uh, if it is there, it's not there, it doesn't matter to him. He is independent, he is there, and uh, the world will still operate as per his wants and desires. So, how do we understand why Arjun Maharaj is saying and what he is saying here? This Arjun Maharaj is not saying this to placate the Lord. He is not even speaking out of emotions. If you recall the whole Bhagavad Gita, Arjun Maharaj has been actually constantly asking questions of Krishna up till now. He he asked at the beginning of chapter 3, as soon as, so first of all, he says, you know, how can you ask me to fight? Will you, it's indirectly he says, how can I kill Dronacharya or Bhishma? Because, and in purport, Prabhupada says, either way he's asking Krishna, will you kill Agrasen Maharaj or your Guru Sandipani Muni? So he has that inquisitive curiosity out of that dejected mood that he has, but he's been asking those questions of Krishna. He has been very uh, critical and observant of what the Lord is saying. So after chapter 2, as soon as the Lord has spoken that verse 72 of chapter 2, Arjun Maharaj asks him, if you think that, you know, transcendental knowledge is better than karma, then why are you asking me to fight? In chapter 5 again, so the Lord goes through, he gives two chapters, chapter 3 and chapter 4. And yet Arjun Maharaj says, oh, so if you think that sannyasa, renunciation is better, you glorify renunciation and then you also glorify devotional service. Can you tell me which one is better or which one I should follow? And he's been asking critical questions continuously. In chapter 4 itself, he asked and questions Krishna, where he says, Aparam bhavato janma, param janma vivasvata. Katham etad vijaniya, tvam ado proktavaniti. So he is actually even challenging Krishna, where he says, you were born just a little before me, but Sun God has born even before you, so how could you have given Bhagavad Gita's knowledge to Sun God? So he's been very critical. So for a person who is critically observing, analyzing everything the Lord has said, that person cannot be seen as emotional and is just saying things out of, the flow of emotions. So we have to understand that also. And then what is prompting now Arjuna to say this thing? Because he's gotten the taste. The Amrit of Bhagavad Gita is coming from the Lord. The Lord has spoken in chapter 7, 8, 9 continuously about him and his glories. And the more, it's like a kid. Everybody has this. We have the base material desire where even if we are given a little bit of sugar, then we want a little bit more. You are given whatever you want that you desire, you want a little bit more of it. Here, Arjun Maharaj's taste has developed where he is wanting more and more. He doesn't want the Lord to stop. The Lord is speaking about himself. Whenever will he hear about the Lord speaking about himself? Lord doesn't do that. He doesn't have to do it for anybody. So having received that taste, Arjun Maharaj is glorifying in the hope that there will be more coming from here. And that is what will come in chapter 10. And that is what the Lord will then demonstrate in chapter 11. Arjun Maharaj doesn't want this to stop. I was listening to a lecture, it was a Hindi lecture, and the analogy the Prabhu gave was like, the cow and the calf are walking. So the calf wants that milk from the cow. The milk is coming from the udders of the cow, but the calf, if you've seen the motion with which the calf goes, the calf goes and sort of, tries to get the milk in the hope that that probing will get more milk. And that is the kind of mentality in which Arjun Maharaj is doing this. He wants more out of it. And here is the exemplification of, if we just read the fourth Chatushloki Bhagavat, where the Lord says that Matchitta Matagata Prana Bodhayantascha Parasparam Kathayantascha Mam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. So Arjun Maharaj, as he is hearing about the Lord, he is Matchittagata, he is completely devoted to the Lord, Matagata Prana, he is continuously engaged in the service. So he is now feeling ecstasy. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. He is feeling satisfied and he is getting more and more encouraged and enlivened by this. So this is the proof that as you hear about him and if you are engaged in his service, he encourages you from within. तेषां सततयुक्तानां भजतां प्रीतिपूर्वकं ददामि बुद्धियोगं तं येन माम् उपयान्ति ते. So here is the Lord. See the reciprocation that is happening, the transcendental relationship Mataji we talked about. Arjun Maharaj is probing because the Lord is probing because he doesn't want this to stop and Arjun Maharaj doesn't want this to stop. Here is the proof. Then he says, Tesham evanukampartham aham ajnanajam tamah Nashyami atma bhavastu jnana bhitena bhasata. So I will remove the ignorance. To remove that ignorance, a spark has to be lit. These two verses are that spark for further glorification of the Lord, of His opulence that is yet to come. So if you needed a proof, right here in Arjun Maharaj's verses is the proof of the 2 or 3 verses that we spoke about in the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita. So that is the foundation for this verse. Now let's talk about Parabrahma. The Lord has already said, Brahmano hi pratishtha. He is the base on which this Brahma platform sits, on which then the material platform comes. So he is Parabrahma, he is beyond it. You can also understand it this way. We just spoke, I think, a little bit ahead of in this class, where Brahma can be also seen as Atma or the platform of Atma. And he is Paramatma, he is Parabrahma, he is beyond it. So that is what Parabrahma means. We are Anu and he is Vibhu. We are very small. So he is also Satchitanand, we are also Satchitanand. But we are very, very small. Mama Evansho Jeev Lokesh. We are very, very small. And again, there is the relationship, Mataji. We are his Ansha. The moment we realize that we are his Ansha, we will have that relationship with him automatically because finger is not removed from the whole body or the person whose body it is. So similarly, we are always connected with him, whether we realize or not. So that is Parabrahma. Let's move to the next word, Paradhama, Paramdhama. Now, Dham can be seen as multiple different things. It can be abode, as in a resting place. And we know he is Padmanabh. The whole universe has come from his abdomen. Forget about that. Even the Vishnu from whose abdomen this universe comes is coming from the pores of Mahavishnu, and with every breath it comes out, it stays, and then it goes back into him. So he is the house on which everything else is resting. He is the one who's creating. Dham can also mean shelter, and he's the absolute ultimate shelter. Shelter, and here in this verse, the word dham is explained as sustenance. Sustenance means somebody who helps us live or remain or maintain something. So who gives the food to us? Who maintains this whole universe? Forget about this. If we really think about it, we are the soul. these souls, we as souls who have come in this material world, have come here because we wanted to enjoy same as the Lord, but we cannot enjoy. So for us to enjoy, He creates this universe. For us to enjoy, because we cannot enjoy, He has to create this false ego where that we are the body. That's the first Agyan. We read Agyan Timirandasya Jnanandam Salakya, right? What does Agyan mean? There are 5 different pillars of Agyan. One of that pillar of Agyan is the very first, because without that the world cannot exist, the creation cannot exist the way it is, because, and the way we wanted it, because we wanted to enjoy. So that Agyan is of that I am the body and everything else around me is for my enjoyment. That Agyan had to be created. But we, these souls who have come in this world, basically, in a way, we've been condemned in this 1/4 portion of the whole creation of the Lord, which is this material world. We, this, we, the souls, are traveling now in a, say, a building. We keep going from ground level 1 to 14th floor, up and down, all the way. These are the 14 universes that the Lord has created. There are 28 basement level floors also, the hellish planet. They also have been created. But while the soul is in this universe, who's carrying this soul? Paramatma. Doesn't matter in which life form we are in. Doesn't matter how abominable we are and whatever absolutely horrible activities we perform. And whatever consequences we face of those horrible activities, He is there with us continuously. A mother may not think of the child so many times, but if you think about him, if this whole world comes like a breath, it is basically it says that every breath the world comes out and every inhale it goes back in. So within one breath, how many avatar the Lord takes within the 311.4 trillion years? How many avatars? There are almost a billion avatar that the Lord takes, and you can't even count. These are just what people have talked about. So a mother in a breath cannot think of her own child so much as the Lord thinks of us continuously. He's always with us. He's always carrying us. Who else can be the Paramdham than Him? Who judges? Who reforms? Who gives us respite when we perform these bad things? So not only He's with us, He also provides us respite. He only gives that much punishment that we are capable of taking in that form. That is how kind He is. And therefore He says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Vraja. Give up everything else. Do not try to think about, follow anything. If nothing else, if you don't even have that level of, of course, you should pursue the Lord and serve Him intelligently. Yet, if you do not have that, just do and just follow me, and He will accept us if we start to see Him in everything. Pavitra Param. Now, how is He Pavitra Param? He is the purest. And because He is the purest, He can purify. And because He can purify, therefore we need to serve Him because we are impure. Nothing can purify us more than the Lord and His devotional service. And here I want to quote something very, very, very interesting. This is in the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. There is a beautiful dialogue that is happening between Parikshit Maharaj and Shukdev Goswami, where Parikshit Maharaj says, so the Lord has spoken about the 5th canto, and now they are right at the beginning of the 6th canto. And Parikshit Maharaj says, so why do people commit sinful activities? They perform activity, then they go through the Vedas and they perform some sort of atonement. Even in Christianity, you commit a sin and then you confess. But then you commit another sin and then you confess. So activity, atonement, activity, atonement. So what Arjun Maharaj says is, Drush, Drushta Shrutabhyam Yat Papam Janan Api Atmano Ahitam Karoti Bhuyo Vivashah Prayashchitam Atho Katham Kvachin Nivartate Bhadrat Kvachit Charati Tat Punah Prayashchitam Atho Partham Manne Kunjar Shauchavat. So here Parikshit Maharaj is saying that actions and atonements are useless because the desires remain. They are like a disease. So some amount of medication is applied and then the disease sort of recedes. And then the patient again goes back to the same activities, the same disease manifests, and then it relapses and whatnot. So what is the use of it? So he says even the prescribed diet and regulated activities that are there in the Vedas, they cannot curtail this because you can only remove the sinful actions that have happened so far. But if you continue to perform these actions, then how can you come out of it? To which then Shukdev Goswami responds, Kechit Kavalaya Kevalaya Bhaktya Vasudev Parayana Adham Dhunvanti Karsnena Niharam Iva Bhaskaraha. Only a rare person who has adopted complete unalloyed devotional service to Krishna can uproot the weeds of sinful actions, with no possibility that they will revive. He can do this simply by discharging devotional service, just as the sun can immediately dissipate fog by its rays. So when we say that he is Pavitram Param, he is not like atonement. He is not like performing austerities. It's not like performing sacrifices, charity, good activities. Those things cannot help. They are like, they are like a fire that destroys the forest. But in another 1 week, you will see the grass coming up because the roots have not been removed, because the seeds have not been removed. And what removes the roots and the seeds is his devotional service and only his devotional service. So if devotees, you have time, read these few verses, up to 15, 16 verses of 6th canto, chapter 1. They are very instructive. And he is such a purifier that he cannot become contaminated because he says, Yatha Mahanti Bhutani Bhuteshu Tanvateshvano Pravishtan Apravishtoham Tatha Teshu Nateshvaham. This is again from the Chatusloki Bhagavat, third verse of that Chatusloki Bhagavat. There he says, I have entered, but I have not entered, because he is manifesting and yet he is aloof. He is like the sky that is holding the whole universe in it. The sky is not, he is covering the universe, but it is not within this universe. It is still outside. This is a crude analogy. And the same way, he is in this universe, but he is outside of this universe. And therefore, he cannot become contaminated. And because he is pure, his bhakti can be more purified. So when we serve him, when we associate with him, then that bhakti is purifying. And that will truly take us out of this material world, from out of all this hankering, out of all this sinful actions and reactions. And that is why to go to him. And this is not just for us, the bhakti that we are talking about, because he is Pavitram Param, his bhakti is so enchanting that, as he said in the previous 4 verses in the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, that even those who are matchitta matgata prana bodhayantasya parasparam, those who are continuously engaged, whose very lives are dependent on the devotional service, even to them he continuously purifies. So how? Because he says, I even to them give buddhi yogam, yena mam upayantite, with which they can continuously pursue and approach me, because he is Akhil Rasamrit Sindhu. There is no end to him. The more you know him, the more is there to be known of him. And therefore, it is a continual race between the devotee and the Lord. And the Lord tries to please the devotee. So the devotee keeps going more and more to understand the Lord. And the more he tries to understand, there is more that is explored. Even the Lord doesn't know his own potential. And he explores it with the devotee. And it's a game he plays with his own devotees. And his glories just keep increasing thereafter. Eternally. Shashvatam. That's another word we will read. Anyway, so moving to the next word, Purusha. So in Srimad, uh, Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 7th chapter, verses 4 and 7, I'm very briefly saying this because there are very important verses. So the four verses that I talked about, Chatushloki Bhagavad, that comes in second canto, 9th chapter, verses 33 to 36. These four verses. So those four verses are the four verses that the Lord gives to Brahma uh, when Brahma is wanting to create. So the whole Bhagavad actually starts with the first verse where he says, Tene Brahma Ridadi Kavaye. We know that he instilled that knowledge in Brahma's heart. So that knowledge that we are talking about are those four verses in Chatushloki Bhagavad. Here, these are the four verses which Narad Muni gave to, Narad Muni inspired Vyas Muni to contemplate on the Lord and to think of the Lord so that he can write about the Lord and he can write Srimad Bhagavatam. So when Vyas Muni then starts to think about the Lord, these four verses come up, 1.7.4 to 1.7.7. And what it says is, as he closed his eyes and bhakti yogena manasi samyak pranite amale apashyat purusham purnam mayam cha tad vyapashrayam yaya sammohito jiva atmanam trigunatmakam varopi manute anartham tat kritam cha abhipadyate. I don't want to read recite the other two verses. The first two verses basically mean that as soon as he started to meditate on the Lord came up in front of him, and when he saw the Lord, he saw the Lord in his all his glory as the Purna Purusha, and behind him was standing Maya Devi, as if a little ashamed, because she is the one who's supposed to be taking care of the fallen souls. It's like the jailer is standing behind uh, the king, and the jailer is in charge of those inmates, us. So Maya Devi is a little behind the Lord. And enchanted by that Maya Devi are these jivas behind her, who, even though they are superior and part of the Lord, have actually fallen because of their desires, and they are engaging with this Trigunatmaki Maya. And even though they are superior and they should not get impacted by actions and reactions, they get impacted by that actions and reactions and keep falling down. And then the verse 3 says that because of that, the only way to pull them out and bring them from behind Maya to in front of Maya, in front of the Lord, Vyas Muni then writes Srimad Bhagavatam. And the last verse of those four verses says, Yasya Shravana Matrena, just to by listening to it, Krishne Param Purushe, Bhakti Utpadayet Pumsa, Shoka Moha Bhayapa. It develops bhakti. And, if you already have bhakti, it generates more bhakti. So that is the Purusha that we are talking about. So when Arjun Maharaj is speaking, these are not just words. All of these power coming into him because he's absorbed, he's understood, he's taken everything the Lord has said. There are so many verses that I can quote, but we are running out of time, so I'll move to the few other words that are there. Shashwatam again, Matta Parataram Nanyat, Matta Sarvam Pravartate, he's Shashwat. Aham Evasam Evagre Nanyat Yat Sat Asat Param, Paschat Aham Yat Etach Ya Avshishyat Tosmyaham. So nothing was there, before this creation, it was him. Through this creation, it is him. After this creation, it will be him. Nothing else precedes him, nothing else remains after him. And there are so many such verses. The one we recite in Brahma Samhita, the very first one, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda. Anadir Adi means it is Shashvat. There is no one before him, nobody after him. He is eternal. Divyam, he is not material. He is not even touched by matter. He's created matter. So it's like a kid or a engineer who creates some appliance or a toy. That toy cannot affect the engineer or the kid who created the toy. That whatever appliance the engineer created cannot affect the engineer. The engineer can control it, but the item cannot control the engineer. Similarly, he is transcendental to this material world. This material world cannot touch him, and therefore he is Divya. And Adi Devam, we know this, right? So many instances we've read across, come across, whether in Ramayana, whether in Mahabharata, in any of the Krishna stories, the demigods keep falling down, and for their own sustenance, they keep going to him. So he is Adi Deva because the Devas depend on him. He is there before them, and therefore even the Devas cannot understand him. And we'll read that in the very next verse, verse 14 of chapter 10, where Arjun Maharaj says, and because you are so great, nobody can know you, nobody knows you in reality. And only through Bhaktya you can be known. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan kyasmi tattvata. Ajam and Vibhum. So now he is Aja, as in he is unborn, and Vibhu, he is the greatest. Yet, when we think of the Lord in this manner, and in Bhakti we can realize him, you look at this world, whether now or even back when the Lord was there, you will see people talk about God as if, first of all, many will say there is no God. Then there are those, they are the literate fools. They basically have no understanding that you cannot even take the very next breath, and yet they will say there is no God. Who's sustaining you? When our body, in my school days, I think I quoted even last time, we were told somewhere around seventh or eighth class that we have 10 bodily systems: respiratory system, digestive system, nervous system, blah, blah, blah. All of those systems. Who's managing that? Do we think every moment that this is how my stomach should do and we are giving direction consciously? No. Who's doing it? Yantra Rudhani Maya. It is his instrument on which we are riding. He is managing the instrument, not us. And yet, these literate fools, intelligent fools, do not recognize that there is a creator who's sustaining this universe. These laws that are there, what what makes the sun go around and do its duties on a regular basis? If there was no controller, why is there so much precision in this universe? Yet these literate fools cannot think. They will deny his existence. Then are those who will say, I am God. We don't remember what we did 5 minutes ago, one day ago, and then we have the audacity to say that we are God. What can we control? So we come across these people who are completely afflicted by Maya. Material intelligence is one thing, but spiritual intelligence is another. Those who have spiritual intelligence don't really care much about material intelligence. And those who have material intelligence may not even understand what spiritual intelligence is, and they need association of devotees to actually get to develop that. So they have the good facilities, but they are not utilizing those facilities for the good that they have been given those. And these kind of fools were there even when the Lord was there. Paundraka was one such fool. Paundraka used to go around saying he is Vasudev, and he used to tell Krishna, give up your things and give them to me because I am Vasudev. So these kind of fools are there all the time, all around us. They will argue and argue infinitely with us on various things. But we as devotees, we have to go through the scripture. As we read the scripture, more knowledge will come. In the first reading, we may not fully understand. So just like Arjun Maharaj, ask questions. If you have a guru, ask the questions of the guru. If you do not have, be patient. The Lord is inside and He is your guru. And He will give the answer in time when you are capable of receiving the answer. When we have the receptivity, He will give the answer. So as we go through this, as we pursue Him, He purifies us from within, and we will start to understand the reality behind every single word Arjun Maharaj had spoken. Only through bhakti can we do this. And there are so many verses that it all begins with just trying to associate with Him. And as I said, we talked about at the beginning of the class that if we reciprocate, we walk one step, He walks 10 steps towards us. So through that, we can realize the way Arjun Maharaj has realized the reality about the Lord. So what is our duty? We should scrutinizingly read, we should contemplate, we should remember the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and try to bring them in our lives and follow them. Every time you think about something and maybe, we get angry because somebody says something. At that time, if you think that even that person is encaged the way I am encaged, we all are in prison basically. The soul, even though it is free, Paropi Manute Anartham, it is para, it is superior, but it has fallen down and it is thinking it is like a helpless thing. So the soul is imprisoned by our Sukshma Sharir, which is the mind, intelligence, and ego. Everybody has different mind, different intelligence, different ego, different levels of understanding, etc. So they're imprisoned. Nobody can break their own personality. Somebody who's of one gender, you cannot tell them to act like another gender because it's their personality. Somebody whose personality is like, I don't know, like a Kshatriya, he cannot. That's his nature. He cannot act like a Brahman. A Brahman cannot act like a Shudra. That's his personality. It's an imprisonment in a way, isn't it? That we've been given a certain set of things and those are the only things we can work with. And then outside that, Sukshma Sharir is another cage, which is this Sthul Sharir. If I have been given a male body, I cannot act like anything else but a male body. If I have been given a crippled body, I cannot act but through that crippled body. So as we realize that that person is also caged similarly, and now apply this thinking in our daily life, we will not become angry. We will be able to control our actions and reactions. So this is what is meant by trying to apply the principles of Bhagavad Gita in real life. Because every day we fight. The fight is with ourselves. And in that fight, we have to take the help of the Lord, who's Paramatma, who's within, who will guide us from within. When I started reading Bhagavad Gita, I used to think Arjun Maharaj is so lucky that the Lord is there with him and he is guiding. But if you really think about it, if he has given this chariot of the body to me and he is there as Paramatma in me who's guiding this chariot, then am I not equally fortunate as Arjun Maharaj because he is my Sarthi right inside me. So why not bow down to him? Why not take his refuge? And why not uh, serve him with devotion? And if we do this, if we follow uh, these things, as in read Bhagavad Gita, contemplate on it, follow it, and if you have a guru, follow the regulative principles. In our path is so simple. They say ABCD: association of devotees, uh, eating prasadam, the bhoga that is offered to the Lord, chanting and dancing. That's it. ABCD. And we would be able to come out of this material universe. Just like Arjun Maharaj has come out of his delusion. Hare Krishna. I'm happy to have other devotees share their realizations, their comments, questions, etc. Hare Krishna. Anybody? Did I put everybody to sleep? River.
But wonderful realizations. And I like the point you said about each one of us has his own, that's why Prabhupada also mentions that, male body, female body, we have to be separated also, So think differently. Everything is like, whatever is true. It's a basic thing, but we don't, we think that everybody should think alike and, think like we all are like different bodies and that we coexist among everyone. But thank you so much for sharing your realizations. It's really wonderful.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
And Prabhuji, we
Mataji, your voice is
14
breaking
we
up.
didn't do today, right?
No, we didn't do 14. We only did 12 and 13, Mataji.
Okay, yeah. Downstairs after home, there's some issue, but I had to come down. But like, wondering if we did that because then, for the next. So, Prabhuji, like in a summary of the overview of this chapter 10, you can say a few words. What is the main point we should ponder on, on this chapter 10, so we can keep it with us for the next week.
Oh, for these two verses, 12 and 13 that we just discussed?
Yeah, no, like just like
Oh, the overall summary for chapter 10? Hare Krishna.
We'll be discussing in the future. So
Yeah, so basically, since chapter 7 and most prominently in chapter 10 also, the Lord is going to talk about his opulences. And, the one simple thing that we can understand is the moment I separate things into this and that, then I start to contemplate about Maya. If I see everything as coming from him, then I see Krishna. So when we see and associate with things, the moment we realize that even if I'm drinking water, and this is not easy, it doesn't happen to everybody, it doesn't happen to most accomplished yogis also. But when you are drinking water, that's the taste of Krishna. Try to think of Krishna. When you are, uh, even if I'm thinking something, that intelligence is Krishna. And be thankful for to Krishna. In ability in man is Krishna. So even whatever I'm doing is Krishna. So if we start to have this type of understanding, when we see the sun and the moon, and those are the eyes of Krishna. So slowly, basically what this means is we are able to see him in everything, in every activity, at all times. And slowly we become Mat Chittagata, Mat Gata Prana. So that's what That is the journey. It's a long journey. It's a, for some it's an easy journey if they are of simple mind. And for those who are of a more complicated mind, and a lot of desires like me, it's a difficult journey. But our endeavor should be to see Krishna in every single thing. It doesn't matter what we do, whether I'm a doctor, whether I'm an engineer, whether I'm an accountant, whether I'm a sports person, doesn't matter. That ability is given by him, in him, and in that ability to be the best in that ability is a devotional service to him. So we don't own anything. So, if as an accountant, I am accountant. So in an accountant, every journal entry that I pass, every invoice that I approve, every thing that I review, I do it as if it's a service to him. It's like a flower offered at his feet. And that way I can link what I do on a daily basis to him. There is a beautiful words that I have, and this is basically because the point about what chapter 10 and chapter 11 is to see Krishna in everything and how he pervades everything. So one of the things is, if I'm going to give an analogy here from a story from basically the Lord's pastime of Aghasura. So if you recall, there is a very beautiful 2-3 verses where the cowherd boys they first see the Aghasura's form. They start to speculate what it is. Then they realize that it is a snake, and it is a foul-mouthed snake, and the bad breath is coming from his mouth. And yet, they look behind. Krishna is sitting under a tree. They look behind that thing. Look at Krishna, smile and walk into his face. The point is, every day when we leave our house for our work, if we enter into that Aghasura's mouth, this material world, thinking that Krishna is there and he will pull us out of this situation. That is the kind of relationship we need to develop. And that is the point of chapter 10, chapter 11. He will pull us out of this Aghasura. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Very good. If there are no questions, I know we are way beyond time, so my apologies to all the devotees. We'll end with our prayers to the Vaishnavas. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anant Koti Vaishnav ki jai, Harinam
Jai.
Sankirtan ki jai,
Jai.
Ramacharya Das Thakur ki jai, Gaur Premanande
Jai.
Hari Hari Bol.
Hiri Bol.
His Grace
Hare
Vikas.
Krishna.
Bye.
Hare
Thank you,
Jai.
Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Also, I just wanted to mention that tomorrow is Gita Jayanti, so everybody join for the recitation of Gita. And I was also trying to understand that does everybody want it to be done in Sanskrit or in English? Because lots of places they're doing in English recitation. So I don't know if unanimously what we all agree. Any this thing about it? Okay, I think I'll probably ask tomorrow about that. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare